What is up, podheads? Back with another episode of the Podio Slate podcast. My name is Tony, joined as always by Anthony.
I'm here. I'm ready to rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, let's do this. We had a phenomenal conversation with a now three-time guest, Vinnie Caruana.
Love a three-peat, baby.
Yeah, it's always fun to have somebody back that you've got a little bit of a rapport with. We tell him in the episode he's two of the other two episodes are in the top 10, so run this one up. Tell all your friends, get this bad boy in the top 10 as well.
Shout out Long Island.
Yeah. But really just fun to catch up with somebody we've talked to a few times. You know, we spent probably 3 hours with, now a little bit more, talking with Vinnie about the new I Am the Avalanche record.
You know what's cool, which I'm actually just acknowledging now. Obviously, we acknowledge it the whole episode, but the first two episodes were Movielife, largely Movielife centric.
Yeah.
Even the first time we came on, first time we had him on, which was kind of the whole life story, it kind of ended when Avalanche started, like in the sequence of the episode. And then the second episode was about 40 Hour Train, the Movielife album. This one was all I Am the Avalanche all the time.
Yeah, very Avalanche heavy, because the new record, it's first one in 6 years. It's called The Horror Show. A bunch of songs are out now, a couple songs anyway are out now. But the record comes out this Friday if you're listening to day of release. And we talked to Vinnie like a month ago. So I don't think Laughing and Bleeding was out yet. It was maybe the day before they released that song, but that's one of our key tracks. And just, it's a great front to back. Spend time with it. You'll enjoy it. It's an early contender for album of the year for us.
100%. I tell him that, and it is a little premature because it's still Q1 approaching Q2. Yeah. But I don't know. It is a complete ass album, and that's, I don't know. We don't have, you don't always get that. And I mean, when I was listening to this, I was approaching it as a full cohesive project. It is their best release. It is Avalanche's best record. And
they've got some good ones in the catalog. So to have them, and I think Vinnie agreed with us, to have them be putting out their best record, this far into it is pretty awesome. And, always love spending time with people who we dig musically and have dug a lot of his stuff and a lot of the stuff that he's been involved in. And now we get to check off the Avalanche stuff too.
Hell yeah. Vinnie, one of my favorite guests. I don't know. To me, I don't have an older brother, but in my eyes, he's like the cool older brother. Yep. And actually, I don't even know how it happened, but he tried to. We asked him to guess our age at some point in the episode, and you have to listen to see if he got it right.
Yeah, and he is the cool older brother. I would agree with that. Cool. I would love to have been hanging out in their neck of the woods when all of this stuff was happening. So we get to talk to him about the new record, and we actually, if you clicked on the episode, you've seen the album art, you've seen the episode card. Shout out to Steve Levy, who was embedded with them on their tour with the Menzingers the last couple of weeks and allowed us to use another one of his dope photos, as we've used many over the course of the life of the pod.
Without hesitation, and he's always quick to reply, and he's like, dude, whatever you want to use. In fact, whenever we have interviews, my initial thought is Levy must have photographed these guys. Let's hit them up. So Steve, if you're listening, you're amazing, man. We love it. We love your stuff. And you have a huge catalog of Vinnie photos that we sifted through, and you nailed it with this one. So thank you.
So give him a follow. His at's down there as well. But let's get into our conversation with Vinnie Caruana. I Am the Avalanche, new record on Equal Vision this Friday.
All right. We are back with Vinnie Caruana for the third time. I had to think about it. For the third time, Vinnie.
Yes, we did. We did an interview with myself, and then we did a 40-hour thing with Brian McTurnan, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And here we are in 2026. Spring has arrived. Our false spring has arrived.
Yes, it has.
Hey, Vinnie, cool thing about those two times you've been on, we've had over 300 episodes. Both of those episodes are in the top 10 most played episodes for us.
Oh,
and we've had some big names.
Really nice.
In fact, the one with you and Brian is our third most listened to episode ever. Thousands of listens. People went wild with that thing.
Yeah.
That's really nice to hear. That's awesome.
So hopefully they all come back for this one.
I guess we have some good conversations.
Yeah. I mean, people are excited to click on something that you're a part of, I think, which is a big piece of it. But yeah, they've both been really, really fun, and we're excited to chat with you again today. And you're hot on the heels. The original episode we did with you is hot on the heels of Benny Horowitz, so a couple spins away from catching up to him.
I just got off with Benny. We just did a podcast together. Like we ended, we, we ended about 20 minutes ago.
Wow.
We love Benny.
See, we knew that. No, we had no fucking clue.
I love Benny too. It was great to chat with him. And we made a date. We're going to go hang out in Jersey City together. We're going to go and see a band that I love that I'm turning him on to called Camera Obscura. It's the Scottish pop band that I kind of got really late on. But they're playing in Jersey City and Benny wants to show me around.
Nice. He's a Yankees fan. Are you a Yankees fan? Or
I was raised a Mets fan.
Oh, shit.
But I'm good for a few games a season, drink a few beers at the ballpark. The 7 train that goes to the ballpark is really close to here. So like they run express trains on game days. So I could like get in my seat in like a half hour if I go early.
That's great. I'm jealous.
You're a Brooklyn Dodgers fan. That's what you are, right?
My father was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan, and he when they went to LA, he adopted the Mets. And that's how me and my brothers became Mets fans growing up. But none of us really follow baseball anymore.
If I could get to Fenway in a half an hour, I would go frequently. But as I've aged, it takes an hour and 45 to get down there, and then parking and all that. Once a year if I'm lucky.
Yeah, Citi Field's a nice ballpark too. It's like a newer one, so it's got lots of cool stuff. It's a good ballpark to kind of just meander around. Which is what I do anyway, because I'm not like that engaged with the game.
That's half the fun, right? Is walking around and people watching. That's why I like it.
Yeah, few beers. Oh, I heard there's a good burger over here. Heard, like you go and make the rounds.
So, Vinny, I like following you because it feels like annually there's like a new VC band popping up. Like since the last time we spoke, Nite Sports, right? And you're playing guitar with them. How's that?
Yeah, finally a band I'm not singing in. It's entirely fulfilling. I played with some of my closest pals in Brooklyn. We're all like neighbors, and I still get to scratch. I'm not singing, but I still get to kind of scratch an itch. So I'm heavily involved in the songwriting process, and we have an extremely northern British singer. So like I get to lean into some of that kind of stuff that I don't really go there in my other bands. So I get to like go into that kind of British pub rock kind of vibe. It's super fun, and we've probably played a dozen shows now. There's a few songs streaming, and we're currently making a full length record. It'll come out next year.
Nice. You've done that. You've done a couple of features. You were on the Koyo record. You were on Pain of Truth. You've produced some stuff. You've been really busy leading up to this I Am the Avalanche record coming out.
Yeah, I'm always doing stuff. I never really stop. Sometimes, there's a little bit more time in between releases than I want there to be, but I'm always busy, playing shows, writing, helping other people write and doing everything that I should be doing. That's my, it's like my mantra. Do what you're supposed to do.
I think we talked about this when we had you on the first time, and we were like, how do you, you must be busy every day. And you're like, well, it's not like every day you're thinking about every project, right? It's, you spread it out a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, everything is so Avalanche heavy. We leave in a week to go on tour, and we're releasing another single tomorrow, and there's just a million things. So like all attention has been shifted to Avalanche to make sure that we really give this record the best kind of world to live in.
I remember we asked you that first time, how do you kind of balance it all, and what keeps you coming back? And I think your answer was one of the most perfect answers we've had in 300 plus episodes. It was just, I love it. Like, you gotta love it to keep doing it, right?
Yeah, this isn't a chore. Obviously, there's stresses with all of this, but if I was like a millionaire rock star, there'd be different kind of stresses. But like, I love this. I love songs. I love tour. I love the people that I tour with. I love leaving New York City because when I get back, I appreciate it again. And yeah, but it all comes back to songs. I love songs. It's like drugs. It's drugs for me. That's the way I put it to Benny. Drugs.
When do you know it's time for a new project? Or do you ever know? You're out with some buds and like, yeah, it's time, Vinny. We need a band.
I don't know if I'm ever the one. Constant elevation. Sammy's like, what's going on? Let's do something. Yes.
Right on. Yeah.
Peaced out. Choi, dude, I want to do like psychedelic heavy shit. I'm like, yeah, dude. Nite Sports. Henbo, our singer Henbo. I've got some songs. Great. I love songs. Let's work on songs. And then the next thing you know, let's get Jim Carroll. Let's get Brian Audley. Let's get Chris Todd. Let's get Justin Weatherholtz. And, let's make another super group, which that term is so, it doesn't exist in our eyes. We're just guys having fun, making cool music, having a laugh. Lads on the loose.
Yeah. So how did the Avalanche record start? Because it's been 6 years, right? So a decent chunk of time.
Yeah. Dive, which came out in 2020, and what obviously there was no touring that happened for Dive. That left me a little bit unfulfilled. I like Dive, I do, but I don't have the same relationship with it as I do with any of our other records. It's almost like it was like, like the Beatles were just recording artists.
Right on.
and then stop playing shows. It was kind of like that. It was like, okay, we made a record. And all the other times it's like we make a record and then we experience basically life from when that record comes out, or when you start writing the record really, and then recording it and then releasing it and then touring. It changes your life. It changes every record sets the tone for what your life's going to be from that moment on. Sometimes a record will push the needle to just new heights. Sometimes a record will just change you as a creative person, So, yeah, when Dive came out, we didn't tour, and then we did play. We finally played shows, and they were kind of weird because it was like the third variant had like creeped up, and it was just like, Jesus Christ, when's this gonna end? And like video from those shows is just like everyone in masks and stuff. So that's not really what any of us signed up for in general in life, but especially with like music and touring and all the plans that we have to make and all the sacrifices we make to actually get these records done and written and recorded and tours set up. So it was just a natural thing. Mike was living in Las Vegas at the time, and that we started writing. And the Movielife played a show in Vegas, and then we had an Avalanche show. Like, I had a whole week between the Vegas show that the Movielife played and Avalanche playing at Fest in Gainesville. So I stayed in Vegas for that whole week, and me and Mike started writing. This was a long time ago. I mean, this was like when we were Young Festival, but not the one we played last year, the one we played 2 years before that. So me and Mike started kind of the bare bones of this record that week in Vegas. And then, went on to kind of, stay disciplined and stay like prioritizing making time and traveling to see each other and writing. And this record was written in Virginia, Las Vegas, New Jersey, New York. And, most of the lyrics were written in between New York, New Jersey, and Northern California.
Right on. As you're talking about Dive, and maybe this is a false parallel, but I almost feel like it was almost like a straight to DVD release. Like no one could truly experience it in theaters, right?
Yeah, that's not a bad way to put it. And it's a depressing way to put it.
Right, I know, right?
Yeah.
But no, totally. There's just like a different relationship with that record because I didn't live with it. Like it didn't become part of life, and we brought it around and took the record traveling and took it on vacation and like played a million songs from it. Like I haven't played any of the songs from Dive live with the band other than maybe 2 or 3. Period.
Wow. Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So the album, it comes out April 10th. So we're talking about a month before. So the world hasn't heard it. We've been able to listen to it for a couple weeks now on Equal Vision. How do they come into play? Because I think this is the first time working with them, right?
I released a solo record called Survivor's Guilt on Equal Vision in 2016. But I have a relationship with Dan Sanshaw, who A&Rs there, and I've met Dan when I was 19 years old, when the Movielife and Silent Majority played together somewhere upstate New York. And this was right around the time when we were already talking to Revelation about signing and doing This Time Next Year with them. So Dan kind of like, I remember at that show being like, what's the story with the band? Because I'm very interested. And I was just like, Equal Vision Records is interested, and we can't do it because we're already negotiating a deal with Revelation Records. Like, what is going on? It was real dream stuff. Anyway, me and Dan have kept in touch throughout the years. And, I send in music that's not mine. If I hear a band or if a band I'm working with or something, I'll just go, hey, check this out, So, yeah, we came through and played in Albany a year and a half ago. And yeah, he was like, what's going on? And I was like, well, we're writing a new record. We don't have a label. We're kind of an open book right now. So we kept talking and finally got it done. And now we're like talking about, records coming out in a month, which is like such a dream. It's so amazing. I'm so happy.
Are you nervous? Is probably not the right word because you've been doing this for so long, but do you still kind of get the butterflies being this close to a release?
Yeah, nothing has changed in that regard since day one. And that's not bullshit. Like, writing is still exciting. Recording is still exciting. Putting out a new record is still exciting, and performing new stuff. That's the thing I'm looking forward to the most on this tour. Obviously, we're going to always play old stuff, but like making a set list is going to be so much cooler now. Making a set list lately is just like, dude, we're really going to play all these same songs again. God. So I'm really excited about just freshening things up in the set list, and also freshening things up, going to a bunch of cities, like some of which we've never played before. They call it B and C markets, which kind of diminishes the I don't really love to use those terms, but we're playing in Boulder instead of Denver. We're playing in Erie instead of Pittsburgh, and like stuff like that. So like, not to disregard these markets, but they're called B and C markets in the industry. And it's what bands do when they're not doing major market tours, if they already did one of those, or if they plan to do one in the future. So like, I love that. I love that we're going to some really interesting places where we're going to kind of learn how to properly perform this new stuff. And also, we're going to show them our body of work. Obviously, there'll be people coming out to see the band, but the majority of the people at these shows, especially in the markets that we've neglected, there's going to be a lot of Menzingers fans that are seeing Avalanche for the first time.
Well, we live in one of those tertiary markets up in Portland, Maine. So I don't know. Do you get offended when people say B and C market, Tony?
No, because
it's what we are. Yeah. We know what we are. We know.
Dude, I've played in Portland, Maine like 3 times in my life, so I'm so sorry I'm sorry, dude.
We got a brand new 800 cap venue opening. I mean, come on up.
Actually, you played with Menzingers at Port City with Movielife.
That's correct. That was the last time I was there.
Yeah. And I remember I approached you at the bar and we started talking about the quote unquote last Movielife show in 2003.
Oh, at the Palladium.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite last shows we played.
Hear all about that
for sure.
Hear all about that on episode 103 if you want to go back and check it out.
So, Vinny, we've listened to the album a bunch. It's the
all
best
right,
Avalanche
what do you got?
album.
What's the verdict?
It's the best Avalanche album. It is. Between the tracks themselves, the production.
His voice. So your voice sounds amazing.
Your voice, Vinny. I was telling Tony, and Tony echoed this. I think it's the best you've ever sounded.
Oh, man.
So, as you say, as an aging frontman, that was the name of your solo album. As an aging frontman,
Aging frontman.
that's not easy to do, Vinny.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words. It isn't easy to do. It's you got to take care of it, and I'm trying to. I'm not smoking things anymore. I think that's a good start. But I'm a healthier, and I'm looking after my voice more than I ever have because I'm 46 years old and you have to. Even my wife and I just took a little vacation and I didn't sing for like a week, and I just like got back a few days ago and started breaking it back in again, and I'm just seeing like I really need that. Even a week off, I can't just go and sing. I have to like keep the juices flowing. I need to keep the muscles burly. And yeah, I mean, obviously, it's something I prioritize because this is what I do. But I appreciate the kind words. We know that it's the best Avalanche record.
I was going to ask that. Like, what do you think about it? That's the most important thing. No
We're
one
like
cares that we
positive, like 100%. And everybody says that. I've said it and I've been wrong, from time to time. And it's just like, 40-Hour Train was the best Movielife record. That is a fact. This Avalanche record, The Horror Show, is the best Avalanche record by a long shot.
so fucking good, Vinny. We've been talking about it all week.
I really do appreciate it. And honestly, I haven't talked to that many people that have heard it. Like I've sent it to my friends and stuff. Some friends have heard it, and I more like I like getting notes. You know what I mean? Like I don't need smoke blown up my ass or anything from friends and peers and stuff. It's more like, hey, I think we have something special here. Like, how does this? If you have a half hour, let me know how this feels to you. That feedback has been really, really good. And a few friends who's, musicians and stuff who I respect till I die, I respect into the afterlife. Something that has been said by a few buddies now where they're like, like, this is a great record. And a lot of my friends kind of are intimately connected to the subject matter of some of the stuff on the record.
Oh, right on.
So that's a whole other layer of just like, did I, did I do it? Did I do it too much? Did I, not a question for the universe. It's more like a question for like my, some close friends who are living through it with me, and it's just like the one thing that has resonated with me from musician friends that I've shared some of the songs with are like, that's the best song that's the best Avalanche song, or hey, that's the best song you've ever written, period. And it's like, fuck, okay, good. If there's at least a few of those in there, if there's a few songs that are the best songs I've ever written or we've ever written, then I'll fucking take that.
Vinny, share one. See if it's the same as what Tony and I think. That's the best one that you've given feedback for.
The best songs on the record?
Yeah, you said people say this, that's the best Avalanche song. What have they said?
I Miss California and Every Dog I've Ever
Yes,
Met.
I love that song.
Is one that's always first. Like, yo, that's it. That's the song. And my question is, did it need a bridge? Does it need a bridge?
Don't overthink it. Take the
Nope. It's a moment. It doesn't need a bridge. A bridge might actually diminish what's going on here. Laughing and Bleeding, which we're debuting tomorrow.
That's the one, Vinny.
I'm hoping that's the one that everybody connects to as well. It's a song about true friendship, lifelong friendship, into the afterlife friendship, real shit, real sacrifice, real life, not just when the sun's shining friendship. And I think that song is probably one of the best Avalanche songs.
I think that's my favorite.
You texted me that, Anthony, yesterday or the day before. Yeah. You're like, this is the best one. This is my favorite, I think.
That's a banger, Vinny.
If there's some more, thank you. If there's some more people that feel that way, like this is some of the best Avalanche songs, this one, that one, this one, whatever, 20 something years in, then I'll take that all day long.
For
like
sure.
I'm in. This record's a success already. Just having us written and recorded it and having been able to get off my chest what I want to say creatively and artistically it's already a success. I don't care if it even comes out. But for everybody else, I would love for everybody else to enjoy it as much as we do. I listened to it last week just to make sure, and yes, it's the best Avalanche record.
I love it. I love it. I think people are going to agree with you. I think a lot of, casual fans or fans of the band that maybe are more than casual, but you're not people that are close to it are going to listen to it and just be like, damn, like it's got so many different kind of twists and turns that I wasn't expecting when I put it on. I would imagine the same. You felt the same way, Anthony, but it's so good. I'm super stoked for people to hear that.
Thank you. I'm so stoked. One more month, but at least there'll be another song this week, and just give, it's another glimpse. It's another thing, you know what I mean? Like it's another thing that we do. With the Avalanche, it's like, oh, we do that and we do that now and we do that now. And luckily there were no rules, and we did not like paint ourselves into a creative corner and just have this imaginary force field that we have to operate within. It's like Brett has become so good at what he does. For the listener, I think a lot of people that are familiar with the Avalanche, like some of you know, but maybe some people don't. And I imagine there'll be new people listening to this record. It's like Brett is our drummer and also produces all of our records. And that being said, he didn't produce the first record because at that time he wasn't. That's just not what he did. He didn't know how to do that. In 2011, the first record he ever produced was Avalanche United.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
And since then, that's literally the first record he ever did. So Avalanche United, Wolverines, Dive, and now the horror show. He's been making massive records throughout those years. Since Avalanche United, he's making like records that are, massive. He does the Hot Mulligan records. He does the Mom Jeans records. He's doing like big things in our broad scene. And every time that we reconvene to make a record, we see how much he's learned, and how much better he's gotten at what he does. And one of the things, aside from sonically, like this is the best sounding record I think he's made, his input in the way the record should flow, and me and Mike kind of letting go a little bit and actually opening our ears instead of, for example, God's Travel Plans, which is, some could call it the first song on the record, but you could also call it like an intro to the record.
Sure.
And then the horror show kind of kicks down the doors, But God's Travel Plans went from, it's just a little riff that Mike had, a little riff that he was playing in Las Vegas when we were sitting at his picnic table in the backyard. It went from that to us writing an entire rock song around that, tracking the whole thing, and then trashing all of that and going back to just the opening riff. And then when we brought it back, we were like, this could be useful as like a moment on the record. But this is just music right now. And it went from, this will be a nice segue into another song, which we already kind of have on the record. We did something else with Osprey as like a kind of mood changer, which is an instrumental. So God's Travel Plans had such an interesting journey. So tracking a full big rock song and then scrapping it, bringing it back to earth in just a riff. And then I'm on an airplane and I watched the 3-part little mini docu-series on the Gilgo Beach murder, which was like something like that we grew up with on like the cover of every newspaper for years. And I didn't know that much about it, and nobody did. That thing dragged on forever, much to the due to the Suffolk County Police Department just being completely inept and also actively like stifling the investigation and bringing like justice to any of these women's families. And so I got done with that. I was on a plane, very high. I like to eat gummies right before I get into TSA, just eat a gummy. And I finished like the last one, and I just wrote down in a notepad instantly, like opened my notepad and just wrote, God's travel plans did not include a manifest. What we do know is he skipped Long Island altogether and damned us all to burn forever. Close the book.
Wow.
Rat was like, I think this needs to be on the record. And I was like, oh, I think I have something for that song. So I open it up, it works out perfectly. And then he goes, we're in the van now. We're supporting Thursday on a few shows last summer. Me and Mikey are in like the further benches. And he's like, that one should open the record. And I look at Mikey and he just goes, he's laying down. He just goes, and I look back at him and I go, it's okay. Don't worry. It's not going to be the opener. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll wield my power here. And then I don't know, maybe a week later, me and Mike were like, he's right. You know what? Yeah. He's right. So Rat had a lot to do with how, not only how the record sounds, but how the record flows and the sequencing of the record and everything involved with the whole kind of experience that you guys have experienced and that a lot of other people will experience, you know, April 10th.
It's fascinating to hear like Brett's evolution, right? Because I think like as a diehard music fan, I can't write any music and you know, I don't come from that world, but I feel like most music fans just think producers are just born with it. And most of them are, but you just think that they like out of the womb are the, you know what I mean? Are these like music geniuses? But yeah, like that's a muscle you need to work. You got to work with more bands and you get, you know, working with more tools and different, you know, different soundscapes and all that. And when the horror show kicks in after God's Travel Plan, it's like the best produced song I've ever heard in my life. It's so full. It's so full and not in a like overly polished way. It hits you and it kicks your ass. It's really well done. And when the album comes out, listen to that transition. It just kicks your ass when it comes in.
Yeah, it kind of really does like set the tone and kind of, okay, we're in, you know, I love it.
And we've had a bunch of bands actually to this point that Brett has worked with. And it's been fun to hear that side of his, because we know him as a musician first, right? But to hear how he has been that way with other bands. I remember, I think with Cliff Diver, he worked with them, right, Anthony?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and them telling a similar story about, you know, sequencing and knowing where things go, and even though maybe the band doesn't necessarily agree at first, and then you know, understanding that he knows what he's doing with that stuff. It's cool to hear that.
Yeah, it's good to have like a dad in the room, kind of like he's a dad, he's an uncle to so many bands. And it's good for like, you know, for me and Mikey on the writing side of things, like it's good to have, you know, we're in that bubble. It's good to have him seeing it from where he's seeing it, you know, and be like, well, this is how I see it. And he was spot on with so many of his intuition and tendencies on where things should go.
Well, that's kind of my favorite part about doing this is hearing those behind the scenes conversations between band members, whether they be band members and producers or just band members in general. Like, how do we want to attack this, and how the writing process and the sequencing process, because we love that stuff. We love finding out how things came to be. You know, we've heard it. We didn't know that story beforehand about, you know, God's Travel Plans into horror show. It's so cool to hear how you were, you know, you're in a van, you're not really sold on the idea. And then all of a sudden it's there and it works really friggin' well. Like it's perfect.
Yeah. I'm glad we weren't, you know, we've been open-minded throughout this whole record, the whole process of when we started to now that it's done, like even going into like videos and stuff, like music videos and stuff, like we've been really, really open-minded, and we're not trying to like, you know, we just didn't want to do everything the same way. So our minds are open and we're all, you know, everyone's good at what they do. And it came together like in a very Voltron kind of way on this record. And it's just, yeah, really special. It's nice to be talking to two people that have heard it, because it's just like I want everyone to have it now.
Yeah.
Well, Vinny, you said a few minutes ago there's no rules, and as I was listening, I'm like, it feels that way. Like the back half of I'm Not Dead, and then True Legends Never Die. I don't know that you guys would have done that in like, you know, the first album days, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, the back half of I'm Not Dead is like my favorite moment on the record.
Yeah, It's a vibe.
We just jam on a sick riff. I'm not dead. Oh, and True Legends Never Die is obviously the heaviest song Avalanche ever put out. And it's after like the most tender song we've ever put
It's
out.
so true. Yeah. We pointed
And
Yep.
and that was also Rat's idea. And I loved it. I love kicking right back into it. But yeah, True Legends Never Die was more of an exercise for me. It was just like a song that I wrote on my own in my practice space, like that's just down the street. Like, so when my wife goes to bed, for example, like I could either sit here and like watch TV or whatever, or I could walk down there where there's like guitars and gear and drums and I can go mess around. So I try to get my ass off the couch like a reasonable amount. And I went in there and wrote that song, just the music, no vocals. And I had it in mind that I would bring it to Michael Smith, who sings in Pain of Truth, and say, hey, I have this song. I don't know if you need or want anything from me, but I have this heavy thing. Maybe you guys could do something with it, you know? I never brought it to Michael. I do remember actually being at my friend Joe Martin. He plays bass in the Warriors, the West Coast hardcore band, and I actually recorded it onto his computer. And I was like, you guys can have this if you want. And they never, never got to it. And then yeah, we were in the studio, and I was like, I have this thing. Let me show you guys this thing. I don't know if this is like way too out of the stratosphere for us. And I played them the song, and they were like, no, like the record needs something like this. That's sick.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, great, it's ours. And then yeah, I think vocally over that song, the right things are happening, and it doesn't feel like if I would have approached that song like with like a tough guy kind of hardcore thing, it would have sounded weird.
Yeah.
But I just kind of did what I did, what I do over it, and it feels like a heavy Avalanche song.
I'm glad you went there, because the last like 10 seconds of Brooklyn Dodgers, there's like a little tease of this heaviness, and I'm like, I need more of that. I need more of that from Avalanche.
Oh yeah, there's a little yeah, there's a little chuggy mosh part that lasts for 3 seconds.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, anything like Avalanche, when we like in a bunch of stuff in the past, like we've always had a tendency to like go halftime on stuff, like those slow Avalanche grooves, like Gratitude or Green Eyes or Wasted, and those aren't moshy, but we call them mosh parts because we know what we mean by that. But like, yeah, there's straight up moshy shit happening on this record from time to time.
So how did I Miss California and Every Dog I've Ever Met come to be? I gotta know. The title's amazing too.
I'll show you. I gotta get up. I'll show you.
Love this. Let's go.
For the listener, Vinnie has stood up from his seat. We're looking at an empty chair, and he might not come back. I don't know. He missed California too much.
Bye. We're in the middle of not really a renovation, but like new furniture and painting things. So like everything is like everywhere. So I'm trying to find my little guitar. There's like bags and boxes, and we're like living in one sec. If I can't find it, then I'm going to have to just tell you the story, but I thought it might be more special. There we go.
Nice.
Been tuned enough. I have this little mini guitar.
Nice.
And it stays next to the bed. And sometimes I don't get out of bed. As an exercise, I don't get out of bed until I write something. So this little mini guitar, I went like this. And then basically wrote the chorus, pre-chorus. I miss California and every dog I've ever met. And moved to the couch because there is a coffee table that I can put a notepad on. And that song was, I don't know, 20 minutes. Probably 20 minutes. And then,
so you don't need to go down to the practice space. You just stay there with the mini guitar.
Yeah, sometimes I get better stuff here. But I just can't make noise at night, while she's sleeping. So that was one of those ones that came really quickly. And I've been playing it out. Like, a lot of times playing solo shows, I just try out new shit and I'm not really knowing what it is. And that song probably, I didn't see it as an Avalanche song until like last year. I recorded that song. There's another version of that song that we should definitely like put out one day, let the record marinate. But I'd like for people to hear like the original recording. It was just me and Rat made a recording of that song for, I guess you could say, not really anything. Like it's more like, hey, do you have a few days for me? And we just make stuff. And I guess you could say it was a solo song until it wasn't. But like
Right on.
we tried it out in an Avalanche kind of setting and it worked. And he kind of never forgot about that session. He was always like, that song's good. And he was like, I think that's another Rat thing. Like that song wouldn't be on the record unless he was like, what's going on with that song? And I'm like, it's just sitting there. Like,
Yeah.
so he's like, I think we should try it out for this record. So that is, that's happened twice now where, hey, we want that. And the one was called Love Song 69, which is on Dive. And that was also written on this little mini guitar. And then, yeah, I Miss California is now, what I guess I perceived to be a solo song, which is now an Avalanche song.
Well, there's a lyrical nod to your previous life. We won't spoil it, but I love little Easter eggs like that.
Yeah, that's fun, right? I
fun.
forget sometimes, and like I'll play it at a solo show because I have been playing it out, and I'll see someone's eyes light up and be like, "Oh yeah, that's like fun,"
Yeah.
Well, I think, and you can correct me if I'm reading too much into it, but on the Koyo feature, What's Left to Say, there's a callback to Hey, right?
Yeah, that was intentional
Right
on Joey's part. I asked him that. I'm like, he's like, come on. So
I love it.
I love it.
As a geek, I fucking love it, dude.
Joey wrote those lyrics, or one of them wrote they were given to me. Koyo gave me the lyrics. This is how the part goes, and then I basically just was like, I would actually do it like this and this and this, and they were like, that's what we want. Do it the way you would want to do it. So we did that. But yeah, I know that Koyo purposely chucked the little Easter egg in there for me.
That sounds like them.
Which is nice, Yeah.
Well, I think we DM'd you after hearing both those features, which I don't like randomly DM people. Like we really just, you know what I mean? Like we have to really like it, like move me. And those features, especially the Koyo feature, it's like it's the icing on the cake of that song. So good. I remember the first time I listened to it, Tony and I think we were like,
we were gonna record and something fell through. So I think we did a little listening party that no one got to hear or see.
And when you came in, I was like, oh, fucking Vinny smoked it. And I think we DM'd you right then. I was like, he needs to know. He knows he smoked it, but he needs to know that we think he smoked it.
Yeah, we recorded that one. We were on tour with Koyo and Bayside, and we recorded that in a dressing room in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because John Markson, who produced the record, is our bass player. So the producer of the record was there. The band was all hanging out in the room, but we just tracked it in the dressing room, like after sound check.
I think we talked to them right after that happened, right? Harold and Joey.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were like, we just wrapped a couple of features, and after he told us, because they hadn't been announced yet, but we were like, damn, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad so many people are listening to that tune and to that Koyo record. It's awesome. It's been great to see those guys grow, and very cool to be, immortalized on one of their tunes. And I like the song, and like it's, like my solo music is like, probably gets the least streams out of all the thing if you're looking at that kind of thing. I looked recently and it's like, I was like, oh wow. Oh, it's the Koyo song.
It's the Koyo feature.
It's my name. Yeah, my name on the feature. But I'm sitting there going, oh wow, a ton of people have heard this song. That's really cool because it's like, not even as like an outsider, I'm like, that's not really one of the biggest Koyo songs, I don't think. And it's still getting a lot of ears. And I think that speaks a lot to like that people are actually checking out their whole records, that's what you want. That's when you have real fans, when people are listening to all of your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Push and play and letting the whole thing rock. And I mean, we try to do that with stuff we dig for sure, and then champion it to people that we, anybody that'll listen, to the point where we broadcast that shit. So.
Yeah, I mean, with the horror show, with this new record, like I'm begging people to just listen to the whole, at least once, just listen. It's a half hour of your life. Listen from beginning to end, because it is an experience. And after that, you can go and save the songs that you like the most and do what we all do, that we've all been guilty of. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's a gentle request,
and it's very doable. Like your commute to work. If you're driving to work, you'll listen to the whole thing. You can listen to it twice. Listen to it to and from. Get a vibe for it. Get a feel for it. Because I think it does come through as a piece of art, not just pick and choose a song, right? Like I think you need to kind of hear it all in sequence to get the vibe of it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and I'm glad that I can feel however I want about something, but it's not going to affect what actually is. So it's nice to hear that you had that experience with it. It really is like a new feeling for me to have somebody say that, because barely anybody's heard the record.
Well, Vinny, I'm going to predict the future. In the same vein as Laughing and Bleeding and I Miss California, Alive on 14th Street.
Oh, cool.
It's so good.
Okay.
And I don't even know the physical references in it, but my head goes to pictures in my head. So I guess it just speaks to like your songwriting and the storytelling and all-time song. I think it's probably top 5 Avalanche songs easily.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's that
very
good.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a deep cut in the album. So if you're listening to this and the album's not out yet, track number 9, it's awesome. It rules.
Oh,
Check it
that's
out.
cool. Chris Smith, who plays guitar in the band, he's been with us since like 2020. He's actually Michael Smith from Pain of Truth's older brother. Chris brings up Alive on 14th Street to me. Like every so often, he'll send a text and be like, dude, this is a good one. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Confirmed.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it is a storytelling kind of tune that, I mean, I have pictures because I know it's right across that. There's a river right over there, the East River, where, that story happened. It's just like my wife saving my life, basically, or at least saving like what basically the gist of that song is like, I was married once before, it fell apart, right? And my goal was I got all these jobs. I was basically like, I took every bar shift I could get at any place in Manhattan and Brooklyn. I was working like 6 days a week, saving up money to basically just start my life over and move to California and just kind of reset. I was just kind of done and defeated. And my wife of who I've been with now for almost 17 years is kind of waltzed back into my life. We had been friends for a while, and she kind of changed my life. Like I stayed in New York. We made Avalanche United and continued doing the thing and making memories and just making life happen here. And I didn't move away from my parents, and I didn't move away from a lot of my pals, and I stuck it out here, and I'm still here now. And Alive on 14th Street is me just being like, cool, like you saved my life, and also just you changed the trajectory of it like that, like really, really, like it was just such a like lightning striking and being like, yeah, like this woman is like, I'm sticking around. I ain't doing shit. What does she want to do?
Yeah. Can relate. I know that feeling.
Yeah. Love.
That even elevates the song even more, getting the behind the scenes. Like it's a beautiful song.
And that's it. Like, I've got asked about like track by track and all this. I don't want to do that. I want everyone to enjoy the songs the way, but I figured I'd share that little bit.
Yeah. We'll
but I
leave
do
the
want
rest
people to enjoy the songs the way that they should. And I'm happy to talk about songs and meaning and stuff, but I would love for people to like just kind of absorb it the way that they want to. And the stories they trickle out,
So you've got some shows, you're going out with the Menzingers, and then you've got some album release shows of Crime and Stereo, Nightmare You. You're going out with the Menzingers soon, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we leave I leave on St. Patrick's Day to go and start rehearsing, and then the shows start on the 20th in Virginia. So yeah, we're doing a partial U.S. tour. We are going to the West Coast and back. We're doing a bunch of like we said, like some more unusual places and some places that we are very familiar with, and it's kind of cool. Like doing the Menzingers tour, we had kind of had our cake and are eating it too, because we're like, we get to go and do that tour as we're rolling out the record, playing in front of a lot of new people. And then, there's all these like radius clauses and things in the industry that kind of prohibit you from playing shows too close to other shows in certain markets and certain time frames. So it's like we can go and play our, after the record's been out for a few months and just kind of marinating with the people who love the band and the new people who find the band. We're going to play, record release headlining shows. So we're doing 7 shows. Make Do and Mend is coming back
back from the dead, right?
From hibernation, a very long hibernation. We love them. They're old friends of ours. Brandon is doing a Nightmare of You solo set, and Crime and Stereo is jumping on 2 of the shows. We really did want everyone to be together the whole time, but Crime can, all of us can only do what we can do. And there's one random Thrice show right in the middle of everything where Avalanche is supporting Thrice in Richmond, which is really cool. So we're playing like 8 shows in June, and then we're currently getting together the rest of our year. So like for some of the people who aren't seeing their city just yet, like there's always going to be someone who's left out, and we do our best. We do what we can do with our time on this earth. And with all of our busy lives, but we're going to be announcing a lot more US dates and UK dates soon.
Nice. Well, I think you're coming to Boston, right? In June.
Yeah, we're playing at the Sinclair. That's our favorite, one of our favorite venues of all time. We love that place.
And we say it all the time, but we actually need to get in the car for that one.
No, I'm good. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you knew this, Vinny, but Crime and Stereo is my favorite band of all time. So I travel where they go. So
you have good taste.
Crime and Avalanche and Nightmare U's on that one. I don't think Make Do Amends on that one, but
Sinclair's Make Do Amends on it too. It's
they are on that one.
Yeah, New York and Boston. It's all 4 bands.
Nice,
all 4 acts.
Beautiful. Yeah, I saw Movielife at Sinclair, 2019 maybe.
Okay, yeah. This would have been
2018, 19. It was
that with Piebald, right? Or
it was Travis?
Maybe it was Travis solo. Travis solo.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the 40-hour train back to Penn tour.
And Vinny, as you're talking, I didn't even really like connect with this. The album release shows are 2 months after the album comes out. Is that the new blueprint? Like, I think you just nailed what bands should do. Let the album get out there. People can listen to it and then celebrate it.
I think it's a really nice thing that it's going to, I would rather have people get familiar with the new stuff. Not that we're not going to play old stuff as well, but like, I like the idea of really living with it and really looking forward to being together in June. And we were going to do it in May, which would have been a month of the record kind of marinating, but we really wanted specific venues for this celebration. And we were initially going to do it in May, but there was just a lot of traffic. And in June, we were able to string together a little run where we were playing in the venues that seem like home and just places where we could picture having the best time. And so we kind of postponed it till June. We originally routed it for May, but decided to do it in June so that we could actually like pull off all the venues that we had in mind.
Love that. Vinny, I know it's at the time of recording, it's March 11th. So it's like the second inning of the year, but it is my album of the year, Horror Show, so far. It's so good.
Oh, man. Yeah. Thank you so much. Honestly,
I had to think about it, and I was like, I've listened to this, that. It's a huge sample. It's not like it's the only album I've heard all year, but it's number one right now.
It's incredible. Thank you so much. Honestly, thank you. It's such a dream that we're even having this conversation. Writing and recording and this whole journey has been really, really difficult, and really, it was difficult for me to write some of these lyrics and get through that alive. And yeah, having this conversation and having like being on the cusp of releasing the record, it does seriously feel like a dream, because that's just like, I don't know how we do it. I don't know how we do it in general in just life, like out there.
I'm
It's
with you.
crazy. I honestly don't know how we do it. And you know, when tragedy strikes, you realize how good you had it in that world of shit that you were sitting in. Like, you know, you don't realize how good you have it. And we're just like, we're halfway through life, if you want to put it that way. And it's just like, really real shit has happened, and really real shit is going to continue to happen. And I'm just grateful for music, and I'm grateful for songs, and I'm grateful for this record, for being there for me.
Well, I think we share that sentiment, especially about music. It's a thing that I come back to whenever I'm in need of, coming back from being depleted, or having the world be difficult outside. All right, I'm going to take some time with a record that I love, because it makes me feel good. And this is one that I think I'll come back to a ton. So we're really
Amazing.
love being able to talk to you about it and having you back. Love having you back.
It's good to be back. You haven't aged a bit, either of you.
Second time this in a week we've heard that, Anthony.
Vinny, how old do you think we are? Be real.
Let me get my magnifying glass here.
Yeah.
All right, we got some gray in the beards, but there's some good skin tone. I'll say
Good skin, tone. Good skin tone.
Thank you.
I'll say, are you both the same age?
Close.
Relatively.
I'm
Close.
about what, 9 months older than you, Anthony?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say right around 40, 41.
Dude,
You are correct.
you got it. Nailed it. I'm 40. Tony's
Yeah?
41.
There we go. See?
Good eye. Good eye.
I used to be one of those.
Yeah.
We hope to grow up to be your age. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, right?
Oh, don't do it. It's a trap. Stay there.
I work at a high school, and I tell the kids all the time, stay here.
Yeah. That Chris Farley. No, stay here. Stay in elementary school.
Yep.
Oh no, it's Sandler, right?
Sandler, Billy Madison.
Yeah,
Billy
that's right.
Madison.
Yeah. Like I wanna be older and cool. Like
Can't wait to get to high school.
Don't do it. Oh yeah, I can't wait to get to high school.
Well, Vinny, we will see you in June at Sinclair. Won't miss that for
Amazing.
the world. That's it's all time lineup. And great venue. We're right there with you. I've seen a couple shows there now, and perfect venue.
Great venue, great staff. We got a bunch of good boys. We're so excited. There's so much to look forward to, and that keeps us going.
Right on.
Thank you guys for taking the time. Appreciate the chat.
Thank you as well.
That's the mic drop. Check out the album. Comes out this Friday. If you're listening to it when this interview drops, let us know. Let us know what you think. Cool.
Let
Vinny,
Vinny
that
know
was
what
fun,
you
man.
think.
Don't tell us. Tell Vinny.
Thank you for listening to Podio Slave. We are at Podio Slave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Podio Slave Podcast. YouTube, Podio Slave Podcast there. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.